What is going on, everybody? 4 for 4 Philly fan back at it with another video. And I could have put this video out yesterday, but since there was no Philadelphia games on yesterday and there wasn't really any news with the trade deadline and all that stuff going on with the NBA, Flyers didn't play. Eagles are obviously not doing a single thing because the season just ended. But the Phillies announced yesterday that they will retire Roy Halladay's number 34 on May 29th against the Washington Nationals, and it's the 10-year anniversary of his perfect game against the Marlins. Now, some of you, maybe most of you, didn't see Roy Halladay in his prime, anything like that, but seeing that perfect game, I knew exactly where I was. I know exactly where I was during that day. I know what events were going on during that day because it's something that, one, doesn't happen much, and two, happened to a Philadelphia Philly. So I was at my cousin's house, and the Flyers were in the playoff run in 2010 going against Boston. They win Game 7 that night. But Roy Halladay also has the perfect game. So it was like the perfect Philadelphia night for me. And that's what really started getting me interested into baseball and, hockey at the same time. The Flyers were so good, having that magical playoff run that we all remember. And obviously the Phillies, won the World Series 2 years prior to this moment. And they went the year before. And now they have the aces. They have Oswalt. They have Halladay, they have Lee, they have all the Hamels, they have everybody. So this is like a must-watch game in May just because they're so good, just because Roy Halladay is on the mound. So, we're just sitting there. Most of us are watching the Flyers game because, the Flyers are in the playoffs. Game 7 against Boston. But then you start hearing like, oh, Roy Halladay perfect through 6. Roy Halladay perfect through 7. And then you hit Roy Halladay perfect through 8. And then you realize, wow, the Flyers are on and we're still watching this meaningless Phillies game because Roy Halladay is now 3 outs away from a perfect game. And I mean, if you watch that game, you don't forget, the last out. When it was hit to third base, he did a little spin, threw it right to Howard, and then everybody... It was a 1-0 ball game, first of all. The Phillies were literally not giving Roy Halladay any help at all. It was a 1-0 ball game against the Florida Marlins. This is how long ago it was, against the Florida Marlins. And, everybody remembers it, that witnessed that. Everybody did. And I also did something with my room yesterday. As you can see, I have all these pennants up in the back. I literally had just enough pennants to, put them all up. I also got my Bryce Harper thing right here. That's a portrait of his first home run. Got this Dr. J sign frame. And then, so back to the Roy Halladay, retirement night. I've been to a couple, last year, I went to Rollins, I went to Utley, and I went to Howard, kind of retirement night for the Phils. But this is going to be different. I was at the ceremony for Roy Halladay a couple years back when his wife, Brandy, I'm pretty sure her name is, his wife spoke. His sons were there. I just remember Roy Halladay being so dominant, even at a young age. I was only 10, 11, 12, and 13 while he was on the team. But there was just something about, Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt, Cole Hamels, even Joe Blanton. It was just something about that team that was so fun to watch. And we didn't achieve our goal of winning the World Series, but you would go into Citizens Bank Park and you would you would be in for a treat with whoever was starting. And I can't really say that now because you look around our roster, our pitching rotation. It's really Nola, Wheeler, Arrieta, who hasn't had good years in the past 2 years. But just remembering that 2008, 9, 10, 11 team, it was good baseball. And I just pray that we get that good baseball back this year. I'm very excited for this season. Very excited. We open up, I think, against the Marlins. Yeah, we open up against the Marlins, and we're away for a couple weeks, to start the season. We're literally away. And then we come back. The first home game is against the Milwaukee Brewers. Obviously, Christian Yelich was top 3 in MVP voting last season. I really think Bryce Harper is going to have a dominant year this year. I really do believe that. I really think Bryce could have 40-plus home runs, 110-plus RBIs. He could be hitting around the 300 average because the difference between this year and last year, Bryce didn't have an off season last year. He didn't have an off season. It was, where am I going to be playing for the 2019 season? Where am I going to be? And, he was obviously in L.A. He was obviously at his hometown in Vegas. He was obviously in Washington, Philly. But he didn't have a off season. He had meetings. He had, he was not figuring out anything. He couldn't hit the ball. He couldn't field. He couldn't get his hand-eye coordination. It was all, where am I going to play for this upcoming season? And now you don't have that. Now your sole focus is on, I want to win. His former team just won the World Series. Bryce Harper wants to win. He wants to shut up all the haters, all the doubters saying, "Oh, 330 for 13, that's way too much. Oh, he's not even that good. Oh, he's a choke. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that." Bryce Harper will win a ring in Philadelphia. Whether it be this year, whether it be 12 years from now. Who knows? But 12 years is a long time. It's a long time. I will be 30 by the time this man is done playing baseball. For the Phillies, anyways. Or at the end of his contract, I will be 30 years old. That doesn't happen often. That doesn't happen with normal players. You're not going to see a guy, I don't even know. You're not going to see a guy like Rhys Hoskins. And he's good. Rhys Hoskins good. But you're not going to see a guy that is getting this much money, this much attention from one city, this much love from one city, especially with the Phillies. We had Howard. We had Utley. We had Rollins. For years. For almost a decade each. Now we have Bryce. And he will be on this team for the next 12 years. There's no doubt about it. He can't opt out. He can't get traded. He will be on this team for the next 12 years. And I couldn't be happier. Bryce Harper easily is a top 3 most favorite athlete in Philadelphia. With me, it's either Embiid or Bryce. I don't know. I've even thought about it. I just don't know who I like more. Because, the Sixers struggling right now. I really just want baseball season to happen to get my mind off of that. The Flyers are kind of doing an okay job of it, but I want to see Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies in the playoffs this season. I don't want anything else from the Phillies. Make the playoffs. That's all I ask. You have the manager. You have the roster. Your pitching is better than last year. You have the superstar in Bryce. You have the young guys in Kingery, in Bohm, in Reese. You have the veterans in McCutchen. You could even say Bryce is a veteran because he's been in the MLB for like 8 years now. You have McCutchen. You have Bryce. You have Segura. You have Didi. You have JT. Your roster is good enough to make the playoffs at least. First base Reese, second base probably Kingery, probably Segura, Didi, Bohm. Outfield is McCutchen, Kingery, or Hazley, Bryce. JT behind the plate, Nola's your ace. Just win. All I want to see is this Phillies team win. I don't want to miss the playoffs again. Not again. I can't put that much time and invest that much money in a team just for them not to win. Just for them not to win. I went to over almost 40 games last year. I now just bought partial season tickets for this team because of Bryce Harper. Literally. If Bryce Harper was not on this team, I would not be investing this much money in them. But because of Bryce Harper, I invested my time, I invested my money, I invest so much into Bryce Harper. And I just want to see them win. Now that's it for this video. Roy Halladay is going to get his number 34 retired May 29th against the Washington Nationals, the 10-year anniversary of his perfect game against the Florida Marlins. Roy Halladay's accolades: he's a Hall of Famer, 2-time Cy Young, 8-time All-Star. He has 203 games won, a 3.38 ERA. His best season with the Phillies was obviously in 2010. He was the Cy Young winner, 2.44 ERA, 21-10 that season. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm very in need of baseball. So like, share, comment, and subscribe. I am out. Peace.